And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here, hanging out inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios with us Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We are, of course, less than a week from the College Football Playoff National Championship, and I'm ecstatic with the opportunity to continue to speak on that with you as I've been on site on location down at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in the Dallas-Arlington area, as well as in Miami for the Capital One Orange Bowl, just recently in Atlanta, Georgia for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and I will be back in Miami, Florida, by the grace of God, for the College Football Playoff National Championship as we get set for the Miami Hurricanes home road game against the Indiana Hoosiers. We'll talk about that with Steve Addazio in just a moment here, as Steve will be joining us inside of these Great Lakes Honda City studios, longtime college football coach, as well as now being a college football analyst for ESPN. He's done a fantastic job. I've gotten to listen to him call some games and see him from that side of the coin in the football world. So he'll be joining me today to speak on the college football playoff and overall college football atmosphere right now. Then in hour number 2, at the top of the hour, we'll continue in our Binghamton University exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Lori Gleason as we celebrate her becoming the head sports performance coach at Binghamton University, overseeing 21 programs, and we'll round out the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli. So with that being said, inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios, Steve is picture-in-picture with me, and I guess I got to start this thing off, Steve, by saying that here I am watching bowl season, and I'm flipping through the channels, and I turn on a game, and I go, I know that voice. So what's it been like for you? Welcome to the show, first and foremost, again, and just what it was like for you to help call bowl season, which I texted you when I heard you. I was like, I know that voice beyond any doubt here. So how have you been, and what was it like going through the process of the bowl season?
Yeah, I've been great, Dan. Bowl season was fun. This job has been a lot of fun, staying attached to college football, watching a lot of college football, meeting with coaches, and staying active around the game. So really enjoyed it. Worked with a great crew, and Wes Durham and Dana Boyle, and they've been fantastic. So it's been a great learning experience. Enjoyed it quite a bit, and looking forward this next week here for the national championship game. We're doing the simulcast at ESPN. Jimbo Fisher, Dave Clawson, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, you talked about the simulcast, and you mentioned Jimbo Fisher and Dave Clawson. There was a time where you were all coaching against each other inside of the ACC, Jimbo being the head coach of the Florida State Seminoles, Dave Clawson of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and you of the Boston College Eagles. Bring me into that room and what that's going to feel like, because for me, that's like ACC kickoff. That's like media day for me.
Yeah, in fact, Gene Chiswick's going to be in there as well.
Oh.
But yeah, I think I've done it a couple times before. When I was a head coach at BC, I also did that. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like sitting around the table, a bunch of coaches, just kind of talking about kind of what we see in a much more casual basis. Not like as an analyst calling the game and reporting that way. This is just more like a few dudes on the couch in the house watching the game, kind of talking a little football. It should be fun, and I think informative in some ways and interesting for people to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, when you're coaching up against these gentlemen, and then you have the opportunity to sit in the room and break bread, so to speak, what can you say to the relationships? Because, you and I have talked about this before, and I actually said at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl that I wonder if your ears are ringing because I was talking about you there, but in a positive way as always, because I see you differently, Coach. You step outside of the norm in the most positive of ways. So I know that I respect you and how you go about your business. But when you're building those relationships and you're around those coaches, what is it like when the cameras are off and you all are just standing there waiting to go on the air? What's the back and forth like with a Chiswick or a Fisher or a Clawson when Addazio's in the room?
Well, I mean, first off, like for Jimbo and for Dave, we're friends. I mean, I worked for Jimbo down at A&M, had a couple of years, and so I enjoyed that. He was great, and really enjoyed working with him. He's an unbelievable football guy. What a football mind he has, offensive football mind. Tough guy. Really like Jimbo a lot. Dave and I had a really good relationship as head coaches in the ACC. We talked quite a bit, and I respect Dave a lot. Dave's a really bright guy, very insightful guy, and a really good person. I've had a relationship with both of those guys, and so we have a friendship. Gene, I don't really know Gene. I've met him a couple times, but I don't have a relationship with him. I'm sure he's a great guy. It'll be good because, we all, or at least, I know we will all get along, but certainly with Dave and with Jimbo, we get along very well.
Yeah, and like you said, you worked with Jimbo for a couple years. What was it like to be in the room with him? And I say this as a compliment, Jimbo, if you're seeing this or if you see this at some point. I said, that man can speak so fast, he's the only person I know that can interrupt himself. So what was it like being in a room with Jimbo?
Great. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed coaching with him. He is, as I said, he's one of the better offensive football minds, I think, in the country. He's got great knowledge. He's got great passion. He believes a lot of the same things I believe in football. He's a funny guy. He's got intensity. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed being with him, around him, because I think he sees it a little bit similarly. He likes to throw it a lot and stuff, but he likes to run it. I mean, he's a really good football coach. I'm just telling you. I mean, and a really good guy. I mean, he's a good guy, very loyal guy. I used to tell him, maybe to a fault, but he's, he'll be a lot of fun in the room. I mean, he talks fast. It might be a battle for all of us to get our thoughts in there, but all good. He'll have a great perspective. And Dave, I'm telling you, Dave's a really sharp guy now. He's an insightful guy. I keep saying that word because I always used to call him and get his opinions sometimes about the meetings and what went down and what his thoughts were and this and that. And I always respected he would have a lot of deep thought and good thought on different topics. So, and he's a heck of a football coach. I mean, I enjoy both these guys.
In that room of the three of you, former ACC coaches, if you had to put money down on who would be the first one to coach again between you, Dave, and Jimbo, who would it be?
I'd say Jimbo.
Okay.
But you never know. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, I really, honestly, I haven't spoke to Dave about that topic.
Okay.
So I'm in the, I probably will when I see him, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I've talked to Jimbo, and I think Jimbo really wants to coach again. He wants to be a head coach again. He should be a head coach again. I was surprised that he didn't pick something up in this cycle, but the way it goes sometimes, for whatever reason, the media can put a spin on you pretty quick, and I'm not sure why that is that way, but I'm sure Jimbo will get an opportunity again. I mean, how do you not? I mean, he won a national championship. He's got a great record. He's done great things everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden now he can't coach football. That's ridiculous. That's absurd, really. Some of the guys that out there getting head coaching jobs have zero experience. I mean, I don't really understand that. And of course, if Dave wants to go back in, I mean, I don't know what his personal life is, but if he wants to go back in, he can certainly go back in. I would assume he's choosing not to right now. You know what happens, Dan? You love ball, you love coaching.
Yeah.
You get out, and it's nice to have a little bit of a life again. I get a fix of it right now because I'm in ESPN. I get my football fix. I would say to you very candidly, if I didn't have this job, I'd be back in. Okay, I'd be coaching 100%. I mean, I've had several offers last year, this year. But I feel like I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I get my football fix, if you will, but yet I have a lot of free time. And like I'm going to head to Florida right now and enjoy my life a little bit. Yeah. And at some point, you need to do that. And so I think that's what sometimes happens. Now, if you can't find that little niche, and we love coaching, and it's in our blood, and we love it. And I think you go back to that. Now, Jimbo's a little bit younger, Dave's a little bit younger, but there's life outside of football, and I think all of us are finding a little niche within ESPN right now. And maybe, I don't know that, but maybe that's enough, moving forward.
I love that response, and I appreciate how candid and you always are, just the openness that you have selfishly, and this is why your ears probably should have been ringing over the weekend. I want you to come back. I love what you're doing, but I miss what you bring. And
well, I appreciate it. I mean, I would say this to you, Dan, that, to be back in football, coaching, for me, it's got to be with the right people, doing it the right way, very specific, so specific that it may not come together, because I just really feel that strongly about this now at this stage of my life, that I love coaching, I love players, I love everything about it, but my ego is not such that I feel like I would need to be a head coach. Of course, I still think I have a lot of good head coaching in me, but I went back as a line coach, and I loved every minute of that too. But you got to be with great people. You got to be with people that see it through the same set of lenses. Otherwise, I think, especially if you've been a head coach, that can become very, very frustrating. And I do think right now, Dan, and this is not, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but I do think right now that more than ever, they need guys that can build culture.
Yeah.
College football, everybody says, everybody's looking around right now saying, what's going on at Indiana? I mean, well, I'll tell you what's going on at Indiana. He's an old school ball coach. He's built a great culture. He's an outstanding evaluator of talent. Okay. There's not any mystery. There's no pixie dust out there, with him. I mean, I just think that they are well coached. Yeah. They're disciplined. They love each other. You can see there's a chemistry. Yeah. And they play really hard. It's not a tricky offense. It's not something cutesy. It's none of that stuff that everybody in the media wants to look at and say, oh, that's what we need. He's not a young guy, right? I mean, so all that narrative you hear, I really feel like it's nonsense. And I think it all goes back to this, Dan. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Can a guy be a leader of men?
Yeah.
Can you be a leader of men? Somehow, administrators have gotten away from understanding that's what this thing's all about, okay? Yeah. And along the way, you need a little good fortune picking up a quarterback. Some of it's good fortune, some of it's good evaluating. Yeah. But just do things the right way, and you're going to have a really good football program. That's what I believe in. That's what you're seeing right now in Indiana. The difference is, well, why all of a sudden now can Indiana, pop up all these years? Well, certainly the portal and NIL has given that opportunity. That's not taking away from what they've done as a staff. It just has given them the access to be able to use their skills of evaluation and create parity. And then once you create the parity, the good coaching, the good evaluating, the good culture building blossoms. And that's what has happened. And 6, 7, 8 years ago, you couldn't get an equal playing field that way. You could have a great culture, you could do a lot of great things, but you had some programs that were haves and some that, for different reasons, were have-nots, and it was hard to bridge that. Yeah. And now you can bridge it. That's, in the nutshell, what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what you said is if you have the money and the resources to do it, then we're in a place where you can take all the culture and everything that you've built, but if you have the money and resources, you can go and get those guys to bring them in and teach them. So now there's not this divide. And Kurt Cignetti's done a tremendous job, and Mario Cristobal has done a tremendous job. And these two coaches coaching for a national championship is phenomenal, because we know that Miami is in a place where they've risen back up into the national spotlight. And Indiana, in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways, for a lot of people, are here for the first time. And now, we get to see this converge. So, I mean, I love, and again, the way that you break it down, and like you said, the culture, that it's a word that gets thrown out so much, but do you have it or don't you have it? And you and I have talked about this off the air. There's places that have it, and there's places that don't. And I've been around this thing for 22 years, and I'm not your typical media person. I'm a ball guy that I want to sit there and watch film until 3 a.m. with you, right? I mean, like, I'll happily do that, put all my microphone and all that stuff away and just sit with you and go, do you see what I see? Because if I'm wrong in what I see, tell me. Like, I know when a team has culture, and I know when they don't. I know when a team has people leave for the portal because that's life now, and when people leave for the portal because there's an exodus. And there is still a place. I think the best thing that you just mentioned is there's still a place for a good ball coach to be a good ball coach and to build young men, because if that wasn't true, we wouldn't have the championship game that we have coming up this Monday.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no question. Mario, both these teams have the image of their head coach, which is a toughness and attention to detail. Mario has built his team from the front back, offensive line, defensive line. They're tough. They're well coached. They get after you. And then here's the thing that people don't realize. When you watch the film, like take Miami, for example, that receiver, that great young receiver, Tony, watch him go in on a run play and dig out the safety and block like a lunatic. That's good coaching. That's not natural for those skill positions. You'll see a lot of great programs with great skill guys. They don't do that.
Yeah.
But at Miami, they are doing that. And that tells me a lot about that Miami football program. And they're doing that at Indiana as well. And that tells me a lot about that Indiana football program. So both these guys have done it the right way, the old-fashioned way. They're building it from the front back. And it's no mystery to me that they are where they are. Now, Miami, obviously, along the way, I think the quarterback play was a little off early. Now, all of a sudden, Carson Beck's playing his best football, and that's coinciding with the playoff run here. And, because they're elite defense, Miami, elite. Both these teams, what do they have in common? They're elite defenses.
Yeah.
They can run the football.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're physical and they're tough. And now it could come down to the battle of the quarterbacks, so it's going to be an interesting game, but you can't make it there if you don't play elite defense. If you're not physically tough and you can't run the football, I don't care. You're not going to get to where they are. And then that's how they've been able to get to where they are, even though they're probably kind of two different teams.
Steve Addazio here on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, doing what Steve Addazio does, bringing always back to grit, running the ball, and defense, which I love, because that was the essence of what you did. And that's old school football to some people, but that's football. And I want to go back to Carson Beck, because you said he's playing his best football right now. This guy's already a national champion. He's already done it with Georgia. Now he's got another team. He's trying to do it with Miami. No matter what, he's aided in getting two teams to the national championship from two different conferences on two different roads. And in the midst of all this, he had an injury in between to his ulnar collateral ligament. So there's this narrative, and you said it, and I agree with you, that there's narratives that are pushed out there, and when they're totally ignorant and they're completely wrong, people will not let go of them. This narrative that we continue to hear, where Miami wins a game and talking heads say, wow, he didn't, Carson Beck won a game, but he's not that good of a quarterback, but he still won, but he did enough. And they scrutinize and they scrutinize and they scrutinize. He's already a national champion. He came back from an injury on his throwing side. Here he is with Miami. He was left for dead when he went into the portal by some people that thought he just can't cut it. So, Coach, you know ball. What are your thoughts on Carson Beck? Away from all the narratives, what do you think about what he is as a leader? Because after this year, he's going to try for the NFL. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I can't speak to him as a leader. I don't know him. But I would say to you this. This is just me now as someone watching, right? I'm watching TV. I have access to be able to watch the coaches' film. I think one of the things that he's doing now in the playoffs that's really helping him is he's doing more with his legs. And plays break down. Sometimes I think quarterbacks that are rated high will go through a process in their last year where they really want to prove to the NFL, who they are as a thrower, and maybe even some self-preservation. I'm not sure. And this is just speculative on my part. But now I see him, he just wants to win. And I see him, and I mean that as a compliment, not that he didn't want to before, but I see him now, he'll take off and make plays with his legs. And I think that even Mendoza, when you watch him, critical plays in those games are coming down to situational football where these guys have to make plays with their legs.
Yeah.
And have the, selflessness to do that. And just that competitive fire overtakes maybe people or somebody or whatever saying, hey, you don't need to run here, and I love it when I don't care if you're watching the NFL, you're watching whoever, when you see these quarterbacks that kind of put the cape on their back and they just, Josh Allen of the Bills, they take the games over. And what they do is they just become such competitors. Some would say borderline reckless, and they're throwing it, running it, but it's really cool to watch. And I think with Carson Beck, I just think I see a different aura about him in the playoffs because these are the most, competitive times right now. It's almost like the NFL playoffs. Now you got the college playoffs. That's, I don't see maybe a little bit of self-preservation. Maybe that's not an accurate statement. I'm just kind of, that's what I think I see.
Well, and I guess what I'm digging at and what I'm getting to here is Miami can run the ball. You've said that. And Fletcher leads the way with that team, and we know how well they can do with running the ball. So should we fault a balanced offense? This whole notion that Carson Beck isn't a good quarterback unless he throws 37 passes a game for 300-plus yards, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns. Why are we faulting a quarterback for utilizing the strength of his running game and balancing an offense?
I don't know. I think that's what you're seeing in the NFL now. You're seeing more mobile quarterbacks that can run. I think you want balance. Yeah, I don't understand that. The metric of passing yards to winning does not equate, by the way.
Right.
Okay? So how do you win? You got to play great special teams. You got to be able to play great defense, and you have to run the ball on offense. And sure, you've got to win third down. And a lot of times third down has the big element of throwing the football. But you have far many more first and second down calls in the course of the game, which means play action, run game, some quick drop back game. But winning, there's an art to winning college football. People somebody seems to just throw it all over the yard. Are they playing for the national championship right now? No, they're not. And they probably won't. So that's been going on forever. I used to get accused of running it too much. And you know what? Probably did. I don't know. I like to run a football. But I always felt like because that's the skill set of my team that I had. I didn't have necessarily a bunch of elite skill kids running around. But I believe in balance. People would probably say, oh, yeah, sure you do. You didn't do it. Okay, fair. But I do believe in balance. I think balance, and I think your quarterback has to use his legs a little bit. Because I think the ability to extend plays, watch any great game against matchup opponents, and the ability of that Q to extend plays becomes critical.
Yeah, well, and it's demoralizing. I've talked to players about this. I said, is there anything that is more demoralizing to a team than backing them systematically, slowly, and surely into their own end zone. Taking time off the clock. I mean, look at Oregon. They didn't have a great game against Indiana. I'm at the game. But on their scoring drive in response to that interception return for a touchdown by D'Angelo Pons, they not only scored, but they took a ton of time off the clock. And I said, this is what you have to do. If you want to beat Indiana, you have to not turn the ball over. You got to score, obviously, but you have to systematically do this. You can't just throw 3 passes and then the offense is back on there, because Mendoza's going to make you pay, and Hemby's going to make you pay, and Black's going to make you pay, and Surratt, and so on and so forth. So let's go to Indiana's side. Fernando Mendoza. They say he's the number 1 overall quarterback in the 2026 NFL draft. He's trying to win a national championship with his team. They're already saying he's a Raider. What do you see when you watch Fernando Mendoza?
Well, I think what I see is a high character young man. Smart, high character, loves his team. I think he's a guy that can bring all the boats up with the high tide. And it starts there. He's the leader, he rallies that team. And, the way he carries himself off the field, everything he says and the way he plays, he's selfless. And he has his most competitive moments in the most competitive games. So he's the Heisman Trophy winner, and he should be. And that's what I see in him. He's a winner. That's a lot of stuff to say. I think this kid is a winner. And he has enough athleticism that he can make plays with his legs. He's a highly accurate thrower when it matters. And, I think this guy's the real deal.
So as we step into the national championship and you look at Indiana, who's undefeated, and you look at Miami, who has 2 losses, but by some weird tie-breaking thing that went to the 4th tie, Miami didn't play for an ACC championship this year. So you look at 2 teams, the gritty, to some people, team that they didn't think was going to get. I picked Miami in all 3 of these games. And I picked Indiana in their 2 games to get to where they are. So I'm not surprised that we're here, but this is still being treated like David versus Goliath. The weird thing, Steve, is that in the college football playoff, a team has never played for a national championship at home. Even more weird is here's Miami in the Hard Rock Stadium, in their home city, but they're the road team. And Indiana, who's the number 1 overall seed, who's undefeated, may be playing a road game in the national championship, depending on how these tickets were delineated and how everything kind of came to be. So what are your thoughts on where we are right now and the fact that Indiana, who a lot of people think is unbeatable, is now going to play a road game in the national championship?
Well, first of all, nobody's unbeatable. I mean, let's get that straight right out here now, okay? That's nonsense. But, there's a home field advantage for Miami, no question about it. As you said, I'm not sure what the ticket situation is, but I don't know how that works. But, the noise factor is a factor when you have to go on silent cadence or you don't have to go on silent cadence. So, that piece of it I can't measure right now. But I think, I haven't played in 2 national title games. I really think that, the magnitude of this game will be so big that both these teams will compete at a high level. I think, can Miami keep their penalties down? They have a tendency to be a highly penalized team, which I'm surprised at. But if they can keep their penalties down, whoever creates the fewest amount of turnovers and not commit the no talent errors so that the game can be played in its purest form, it'll be interesting to see the matchup between Indiana's offensive line to protect Mendoza from that great pass rush, what their plan is with that. Obviously, you saw they're trying to take away they're trying to get the ball out quick and take and equalize the pass rush of Miami. So I think that's going to be a big factor. Can Miami get after Mendoza? I'm curious to see that. And Indiana's got a really good defense, a run-stopping defense. And, can Miami run the football enough to set up some explosive play-action passes to create explosives down the field? And I do think you'll have to watch the game unfold. I think the legs of these quarterbacks will come into play in this game in terms of extending a couple of drives that will lead to scores.
Yeah. What I love about this is this is going to come down to who turns the ball over, who capitalizes on it, and whose defense can be the most stout. I mean, it's everything we've talked about. It's who can get their run game going, whose defense is going to show up, who's going to get the takeaways. I mean, these are all the things that are not Carson Beck, Fernando Mendoza, but they're the things that win the game. And like you said, with all those things happening, now which quarterback is going to utilize their legs the best? Which quarterback is going to balance their offense? Which quarterback is going to have the time to pass the ball? All of these things are playing into each other, and it's going to give us, I think, a fantastic national championship. Steve, before I let you go, with you being able to go out there and commentate for bowl season, do you have a favorite moment, a favorite game, a favorite opportunity out there of the travels that you've had and the experiences in bowl season? What kind of sticks out to you that you've enjoyed? Because I've heard you talk about a lot of different things. I think one of the games I'm watching, you were talking about food, and I was like, typical Italian. So is there a moment for you that kind of stays with you?
You know what? Yeah, I think there is. The last bowl game I did the University of Connecticut Army game in the Fenway Bowl. And I'll say this to you, and I don't want to be so boxy, but I saw an Army team. It gave me a warm feeling inside watching them. Here you had this team, not one of their best teams, but I watched a bunch of young men out there not concerned about whether they opted out of a bowl game, not concerned about NIL, but just playing their tail off with each other, for each other. I saw a quarterback who allegedly had 101, 102 fever the day of the game and ended up being the MVP of the bowl. Okay. And then, I saw on the other side guys playing 2 plays and then take the rest of the game off and take their pads off, not play at halftime. And I just sat there and I said to myself, what are we doing? This is what college football is all about. A bunch of young men playing for each other, okay, as a team, battling and competing. And I just really dug it. And I watched it. It made me feel good. It, reinforced what I know college football should be all about. And somehow, some way, and, people say, well, the genie's out of the bottle. Okay, well, it may be. I don't know. But somehow, some way, we've got to find a way for the team to matter, for institutional pride to matter, for playing for each other matters, the love of the game matters. Or are we now just going to go down the path of money and, what's in it for me and yada, yada, yada? I mean, so that was a really good feeling for me in that bowl game to watch those young men play as what I would call the ultimate team game, and they played like an ultimate team. And that was awesome to watch. And then I interviewed Coach Monken earlier in the week, and he just talked about how they don't have, they're not a portal, it's a one-way portal. They can portal out, but they can't portal people in. Yep. And basically he said, we have got to develop our players. And I said to myself, and develop a team, a culture. And of course, it's Army. We all know that. That's the ultimate. These guys are orientated that way, right? I mean, selfless and all that stuff. But I'll tell you, Dan, I really enjoyed that, and I loved it. And I'm hoping that we can find our way in college football. And I get it. I'm not against players getting more and all that, but can we please find our way back to the ultimate team game, please?
And that happens by creating a system where people are compensated equally everybody's on the same playing field and we move forward together.
And get an education, Dan.
Right.
And get it. By the way, God forbid we talk about getting an education.
Yeah. God forbid we talk about student and student athlete. So, yeah. And as I've said it before, Steve, there's professional football, which you can't talk to a coach until their season is completely over or it's tampering. There's no free agency during the NFL playoffs. And then you have college football where there's no rules, and there used to be. So there's amateurism, there's professionalism, and then there's where college football is right now, where they're functioning in the middle, where they're pretending to be pro, but they have no parameters of pro. They're not college anymore. And like you said, I mean, where's the education? Where's all the pieces in this? Where do you, if you go to 4 schools in 5 years, who are you an alum of? Like, I mean, what and how? And Steve, you know this, and I know this. Credits are a pain in the butt, and nobody wants to go to the registrar's office. So when I have 80 credits and I transfer to a school and they say we're going to take 35 of them, and now I got to call my parents and say I'm going to be in school for 3 more years just to get the bachelor's degree. Like, we're not setting kids up for, and I talk to my parents about this, it drives me nuts. We're not setting kids up for life. College is the bridge between I'm not in my parents' house and I'm not on my own yet. College is the bridge where you get the sniff of reality, you get the experience of what it's going to be like to be in the real world, where you still are protected a little bit. We're not protecting these kids. We're not teaching these kids anymore. We're taking them from high school to the real world, and they're not learning any of the skills to be able to handle that. And that is a problem that you just fed into.
It's worse than that, too, because I think what also you're doing is you're saying to 17, 18, 19-year-olds, here's this exorbitant amount of money. Okay. And it's just like, well, I just came into this money now. Well, as you all know, you take that money, let's call it, I don't care what you call it $1 million. And you're going to lose a half of that to taxes. Okay. And then you're going to lose whatever percent of that to your agents. And then, so that sum is still a large amount of money, but it's whittled down significantly.
Yeah.
And then you think about it, you come out of college, you don't have your degree. You're not really prepared, as you said, for the next phase of your life, but yet you have made this money and you've made yourself accustomed to a lifestyle that you can no longer hang on to. I think that's worse. Yeah. It's very hard in those situations, and we're gonna feel the effects of all of this. But I've said this to people before. I can remember back in the day, and I'm sure you can too, where there was so much criticism out there about how can we take these 20-year-old guys and we used them and they went to the NFL and they spent all their money in the NFL, and now there's no money and blah 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 and blah 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 blah. This is terrible. What are we doing, humanity? So in our infinite wisdom, what did we do? And now we're not talking about 20, 21-year-old, 22-year-old, 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds. Now we're talking about 17, 18-year-olds. And all of a sudden, what happened to the argument of doing what's right and getting an education, and not using athletes and blah and blah and blah and blah? I don't know. It's, what? There's no point that you and I, we go, it just every once in a while, enough's enough with that, and that's where we are. And here's my wish, the song, My Wish. My wish is that we can find a way to create a governance in college football. We can create some guidelines. We can create some guardrails. There is a model out there that we can use as a directional model called the NFL, but we can figure that out. But how do we keep a level of amateurism, a level of getting the degree still? What's the incentive for receiving your degree? And I think we need a more sustainable model. This game is the most phenomenal game there is. Let's not ruin it. We need to be good stewards.
Yeah, like you said, gave them the money sooner, but still not educating them at all when they were 23, 17, or anywhere in between. Steve Addazio here. The national championship's going on, the simulcast with him, Jimbo, and Dave Clausen. Like, I want to be in that room because I used to talk to all of these gentlemen on the same day at the ACC kickoff, and I miss it. So when you see Jimbo Fisher and you see Dave Clausen, please tell them I said hello, because I genuinely miss my conversations with both of them, and I've taken the time to respect them both. And I've stuck up for Dave like crazy. I was like, if Wake Forest fires Dave Clausen, there was no point in hiring him because he had to build something, and he built it. And Jimbo Fisher, I'm not going to get into what happened in his last job and how he was treated after beating Alabama, and he should have been in the college football playoff if things were done right at that time. Texas A&M definitely had a case. And this guy, my keys to my hometown, I got the key to the city. I stole it from the mayor. If you want it, Steve, it's here. So with that being said, Steve Addazio, longtime coach and current college football analyst for ESPN, on the road to the College Football Playoff National Championship, an overall look at college football, and beyond everything else, a great friend that I deeply respect for the human being that he is. Steve, I appreciate you. Please be safe down in Florida. I'll be down there as well, and of course, I'll be covering the playoff and the national championship as you will. I hope you enjoy that cast, and I hope you have a great time with great coaches in that room, you being one of them.
Thanks, Dan. All the best, man. Enjoy. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, I'll talk to you soon. That coming from Steve Addazio one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Speaking on the college football playoff as we prepare ourselves for what is to come in this national championship game. This game is going to be fantastic because, as Steve Addazio pointed out, we have two electric defenses. We have two very capable running games. And we have a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza that leans on God and believes that there is nothing he can't do, which that's the truth. There is nothing you can't do with God. And then you have Carson Beck, who was left for dead after winning a national championship. And people don't think he can do it. He already did it. So it's crazy, the scrutiny that man has taken. And he's responded by continuing to move forward with his teammates. In the words of Mario Cristobal, and I am paraphrasing a little bit here, but he said when he gets asked about outside noise, he's like, I don't understand this question. Why would it matter what anybody has to say about my program that's not in my program? And he's right. And that's how we should all live our lives. People can have opinions about us, but nobody asked for the comment box. And it's fine that you have an opinion. It doesn't mean that it matters, and it doesn't mean that it holds weight. We all have opinions about a lot of things. And a lot of us have opinions about things we don't know anything about, that we have no education in. Look at America today. How many people pop off about topics that they have no idea what they're talking about? So, Miami's here, whether you like it or not. Indiana's here, whether you like it or not. And the national championship is going to be awesome. No matter what the score is and what happens, I already respect these coaches. I already respect these defenses. I already respect these offenses. I already respect these special teams. These two teams have been exciting to watch. I have had the opportunity to vote in plenty of national polls where names have come up from Indiana and Miami that I think are more than worthy to be putting out there to win awards. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. It's all coming up in less than a week. And you can be sure that Wake Up Call will bring you all the way to it. We have plenty of awesome opportunities and conversations, interviews to do, including the one today with Steve Addazio. So we appreciate Steve for being here. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, it's hour number 2. And on a Tuesday, it's Bearcat time at 10 a.m. Eastern time every single Tuesday. And we will be celebrating the Bearcats by honoring and spotlighting Lori Gleason, who's been with Binghamton University as the assistant sports performance coach since 2006, about 20 years. And now she steps into the role of being the head sports performance coach. She's been overseeing 7 programs. That now turns into 21 for all of Binghamton University as your head sports performance coach. Lori Gleason tells her story right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, We just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have the place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, these Great Lakes Honda City Studios, named after the only place that I've gotten a vehicle for over a decade. You can go and visit them at 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And you can get your sneak peek by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. I am picture-in-picture for this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom with Lori Gleason, who is here with us, the new Binghamton University head sports performance coach. When I saw this announcement, I was like, let's go, Lori. Let's make it happen. So we are here, of course. We are here inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. We are celebrating and spotlighting Lori to hear her story today and what it means to have her leading sports performance at Binghamton University. Lori, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. First and foremost, I know I said it to you off the air and just said it to you in the intro, but massive congratulations on such an honor that you have now to lead sports performance for the Bearcats.
Thank you so much.
So I want to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay. Bring me into how you first got connected to sports. Like, what did you play? What did you watch? Like, what brought you in to this world of sports in the beginning?
So when I was probably 3 or 4, I'm sure that's when I started, because my mom started all of us girls. I'm the youngest of 3 daughters, and started in dance, did gymnastics. I did gymnastics almost through 7th grade. I ended up stopping because we ended up moving. I was born in New York, moved to Massachusetts, and then we moved back to New York going into my middle school years. And I started gymnastics in 7th grade and ended up stopping because I wasn't thrilled with the new place.
Okay.
And then I picked up basketball. I decided to do basketball, I think, just because I played a lot in the summers at my grandparents', and then that became my love. I loved it, and obviously, like growing up, I always watched sports. My dad always watched NBA basketball. Uh, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, all the Robert Parrish, all those good players, Michael Jordan, of course. So definitely grew up watching those teams, and then he always had golf on. My dad's side of the family are all the avid golfers. So golf is always on till today. But yeah, I just absolutely loved being active. And when I got into high school, my uncle Mark, who was the girls' varsity basketball coach at the time, told me the summer going into my junior year that if I wanted to make varsity, then I was going to be going to the weight room in the summer at 8 a.m. And I said, okay. And I wasn't too thrilled about that at first. And so those mornings in the summer started off, it was myself and I think two other girls that were already on varsity. And so I trained. I was not a fan of it at first. I would walk across the street from the high school to my grandparents and be just very, very sore. And I was like, what am I doing? Why is this happening? And so then, obviously I saw the results and felt like I was getting stronger, and I kept up with it during the school year, and also kept up with it during when I was at college. And when I went to Cortland at the time, so I transferred in. I went to Cortland in 99, fall of 99. And at the time, they did not have an exercise science program. They had, obviously, Cortland's very big on PE, so they had a non-teaching PE program. And I knew I didn't want to go in the PE route. I learned about athletic training. I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do either. But when I went into the non-teaching program, I found out all these different facets of fitness and came to learn about the strength and conditioning field. And I was like, this is a thing. This is crazy. Like, I didn't know that was a field. And honestly, strength and conditioning really came more so familiar I would say in the 80s. So obviously it was fairly new in the collegiate level. So I ended up taking an internship. It was, I believe, fall of 2002, and I took an internship at Marist. A pretty unique situation. My first day there was the strength coach's last day because he took another job at Towson University. But again, that was the first time of being in a Division I facility, and I was very naive to the field because I was obviously still learning and I just really didn't know the ins and outs of it. But the more I saw, the more I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I can do this for a job, like train these athletes and get them better and improve their performance. So it was just very eye-opening for me. And when I ended up finishing my undergrad, I took some time off, took a year and a half off, worked full-time at GE in Schenectady. They had a corporate fitness center. So I just knew I needed a break. And so I lived at home with my parents and had a full-time job and knew I wanted to go back to school. So I went to Springfield College for my master's. Went back in fall of 2004, and that program was specifically, it was a bachelor's. I ended up getting a bachelor's of education instead of science just because I didn't do a thesis. I did an independent study. That's the only difference. Even though I was told my independent study was basically a thesis.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but so my program was applied exercise science with a concentration in strength and conditioning. So it was very hands-on. It was very I was very timid
Yeah.
when I first went there because I was obviously a little bit older since I took that time off. And I just didn't know how it was going to go. It went really fast, and that first year was, just a big learning curve for me. Just because I had that couple years off, and I just felt like I had to play catch up. I ended up having a grad assistant position in the exercise science department, not necessarily in the strength and conditioning department. So I was very grateful that I was offered a grad assistant position. And so I was under a professor, had to have office hours, all that stuff. And after a year, I was like, I don't want to be in an office. I need more experience in the weight room. So I turned down my grad assistant position for my second year.
Okay.
Not many people do that. And my advisor and then a couple of my professors were like, "Are you sure about this?" I go, "I need to be happy with what I'm doing, and I'm not happy. And if I want to be a strength and conditioning coach, I need to be having more hours in the weight room."
Yeah.
So I turned down my second year of that school being paid for. And my husband, well, we were engaged at the time. He was like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" I said, "Do you want me to be happy with what I'm doing?"
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that in turn, again, I feel like things happen for a reason. And with that happening, that spring semester, it was spring of 2006, one of the full-time GAs actually left and got a full-time job, ironically at Marist. Um, and then my advisor came to me and said, "We'd like to offer you," it was part-time just because of the semester lining up.
Yeah.
But she said, "We'd like to offer you a part-time grad assistant position because you've shown great improvement from your first year." And previously, like that fall semester, I took on women's gymnastics, women's cross country. So I had a couple teams already. But I accepted the part-time GA and I took on 7 teams. And if I didn't do that, I don't feel like I would have gotten a job as soon as I did. So that led me to Binghamton.
Yeah, and I appreciate you taking us through the story and taking us through the background and the journey that you've had here with Lori Gleason, celebrating the fact that she is now leading sports performance at Binghamton University. And to give a little backdrop to this, going off of what you said, you'll oversee the sports performance programming for all 21 Binghamton Bearcat athletic programs. In this role, you will lead 2 assistant sports performance coaches and collaborate closely with team coaches and student athletes to establish and uphold training programs and performance standards that support continued growth and development of student athletes. You made mention that since being hired as an assistant sports performance coach in 2006, you worked directly with 7 of the Bearcat athletic programs, 6 of which have captured America East team championships during your time there. Within those 7 years, 6 of those programs have gotten America East championships, and you have worked with a track and field program that produced one NCAA champion as well as 7 other All-Americans during that same span. So I know that you're going to answer this in a way that is humble, but working with 7 programs at Binghamton University as an assistant sports performance coach dating back to 2006, 7 different programs you work with, 6 of them are America East champions, and you have an NCAA champion. You might have something to do with it, Lori. I'm just saying.
I take very little credit for it. I mean, these athletes are the ones that are putting the work in. In our role as sports performance coaches, we need to be just very on top of what we're giving these student athletes in the weight room and be very smart with the load, especially in season. So it's a lot of communication that comes into play between the coaches, our staff, sports medicine, and the student athletes. Like it really needs to be very much a full circle of communication. So it is a true testament to their work and the effort that they put in all year. It's very rewarding to see these student athletes and teams, especially these past 5 years, just really excel in their sport and what they're doing and being successful.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said you're a part of this, and you said, I'm a small part, but there's this working together that it truly takes a Bearcat community to get this done. Coaches working with student athletes, and both of them working with you and your staff. And, sports performance is a huge part of this because we look at injuries all the time and are things preventable? And there's people that I talk to in the world of, sports medicine, and they say to me, I'm not in a world where I'm trying to rehab somebody and get somebody better. I would like to be a preventative person that is teaching them how to keep themselves healthy. Instead of just reacting to the injury, let's try and not let the injury happen. So working with student athletes and coaches and having 7 different programs that you've worked with at Binghamton in this time period of being an assistant in the world of sports performance, what can you say about the give and take, the communication, and just how there is this working of coaches and student athletes and yourself? Like, how is the give and take, and how is, the partnership, so to speak, when it comes to a coach and a student athlete and you all sitting down and saying, okay, this is the best path forward? Because obviously you got to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, so in the beginning, coaches and as sports performance coaches, we will sit down and have just a collective conversation. Like I just had one today with women's lacrosse coaching staff, just making sure we're all on the same page moving forward once they return this week to get their season going. And, a lot of it comes to making sure volume as far as what I'm doing and what the coaches are doing are in sync.
Yeah.
Obviously, when teams are in season, that's their focus. Their focus is their sport. So we're here to make sure that they stay healthy, and we're more, just keeping that strength and trying to help prevent any injuries that may occur over the course of the season. So if anything, as far as practice, say volume went a little bit high in one of the practices, then, I expect either the coaches or the student athletes to come to me right after practice when they lift, be like, hey, our legs are a little tired today. Okay, so I need to readjust what I have planned for that lift. So I'm going to readjust things, whether it's individually or as a whole, because, there could be certain, it could be maybe more the attack side had a more, challenging practice than the defensive side. So I just need to know specifics so then I can make adjustments. And, over the years, I've really have, done a great job, I feel like, with individualizing our student athletes programs. Obviously, like, I'm going to have what I have planned for the team when they come to see me. But if something happens at practice, like say a minor strain or something along those lines, like I need to
I think we lost Lori here for a
lower
second.
body for the day.
So you said if something happens in practice, you need to know. You cut out for a second. So what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. Yes. So, if something does happen at practice, then I will readjust and make adjustments to that program for either the individual or anybody, if it's the team, I'll make adjustments accordingly when they come to see me. So again, it's just that communication factor. Maybe it's not the coaches because they're coming right in from practice. If they don't have time to see me, the kids are really good about telling me, or even the athletic trainer. So we all have a really good system, because we all know we have to keep each other in the loop.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing that you're talking about here is communication, and we live in a world where we've never had more opportunities at communication, but sometimes people are so poor at it, right? It's crazy that we have all these avenues to communicate, yet we've seen that there's a lack of communication. How do you at Binghamton University, between yourself and the athletic trainer and the head coach and the assistant coaches and the student athletes, how do you have this positive communication bridge that you can keep going back and forth on? What can you say you've done at Binghamton as a team of Bearcats to essentially create open, productive, consistent communication? Because it is extremely valuable in any walk of life. And in your world, we got to make sure that the telephone game is the same at the end, right?
I think a lot of us there have worked together closely for quite some time, so we know each other's relationships and we know what we need to do for the student athletes. And I just think, like, our focus is them. So I don't want anything to happen on my watch. I know that. So I'm going to be very cautious with what I'm giving my student athletes, as far as, even if it's out of season, but I would rather them be very smart with their load that they're doing, whether it's in season or out of season, and progressing them as I see fit. And again, I think that communication line is just something that a lot of us coaches have grown over the years to know that, we're all in this together and we want what's best for the student athletes. And I just feel like we all, again, are in pretty good sync with each other, that we feel comfortable with, any changes that need to be made. I told Coach Stephanie Allen today, I was like, this is my plan for the first few weeks. With the girls coming back, I want to ease them in, even though I know a lot of them have put their work in over the winter break.
Yeah.
But I want to be smart. And I just told her, I said, if you see or feel that anything is a little too much, then you just need to let me know. Like, I'm here for them.
Yeah, I mean, and it really sounds like you can't have an ego, right? Because if you have coaches, student athletes, athletic trainers, or, sports performance coach like yourself that has an ego, then the communication's going to fail. There's going to be, fighting. Coach is going to say to do this. They're going to come see you, and you're going to say to do that. They're going to go see the athletic trainer, and they're going to say, why did Lori let that happen? So, just bring me into that world of being humble, lacking in ego, and not making it about yourself, because at the end of the day, you all are there to help make sure that the student athlete is the healthiest that they can possibly be to do the task that they came to do, which is to go and fight and win games and matches and hopefully championships.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely been over the years, when I first started, it was challenging, and I don't want to play, the female card or anything, but it was being a 27-year-old female starting in a Division I school. I really didn't know how student athletes would, react to that. And, it was very challenging at first. And I definitely had to prove myself to a lot of these kids in the beginning, making sure they knew that I was there for them and I was going to push them as hard as possible. And when there's a time and a place to be pushed, and there's a time and a place to get to pull back, and our student athletes, they want to know why. They want to know why we're doing things. They're very inquisitive young adults, and so being able to explain to them, like, this is the purpose of what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, and there's a certain points in time in the year where you can push yourself, but then in season, I always tell my teams, we're not here to PR right now. Like, you need to be doing your job on the field or in the pool, on the court. Like, we're not here to push weights and PR. That's your off season period. So, we really need to educate them on those times of the certain times of point in the year where they are able to push themselves, and then when they need to pull themselves back, and just really, be there for them. That's why, we are there. And I don't know if I answered that well.
No, I mean, like you said, it comes down to the fact that you all have to work together. And you have to communicate well. They have to know what they're there for. They have to know what they're doing. You hear from coaches that'll say, I can't get this person out of the gym. I can't get them out of the pool. I can't get this person to get off the court or get off the track or get off the field. And it sounds good, right? Because you're like, man, that's awesome. They want to work at it. They want to be the best they could possibly be. They can't stop, won't stop. Like, they're going to do everything they possibly can do. But that's great to have, and it's a great nature to have, but it's also part of your job as the head sports performance coach to say, hey, you need to let your calves take a minute. You need to not do legs today. You need to just have like a little mental health day. You just came off of playing 2 games in 3 days. I need you to go and rest your arms. I need you to just get some body rest. Or, you've been eating a certain type of food. I need you to shift into this. Like, you have to have conversations with people where it's not bad that they have that tenacity and that want to and that drive and that dog mentality. You just have to tell them, like, this is a human body, and I can't have you run on empty here. Like, just like you charge your phone, you got to charge yourself.
Yeah, I've had many conversations with student athletes who, especially, over the summer when they're training, and just if they're coming back from an injury, guiding them in the right way and programming for them, especially like for fitness. Some of them can get pretty intense and not give themselves a day. And I'm like, you need a day just to let your body recover. And, sometimes we just program those into their lifts. We're going to do a recovery day. We're going to do, some foam rolling, some stretching, mobility work. And then, and make sure we get in the tubs. And, we always are constantly reminding them about the little things which will benefit them down the road.
Well, the thing is, like, people are creatures of habit, right? So you create good habits for them. When you talk about sports performance, we hear about nutrition. When people think about sports performance and they hear that, they think about like running and lifting. But there's all these other things, right? There's rest habits, there's nutrition, what you're putting in your body, what's your water intake, what are the other things that you're drinking, what are you eating, when are you eating, how often are you eating. So when we're talking sports performance, are you and your staff working through all that? Are you doing the nutritional, the rest? Like, are you talking to them about things beyond the training, so to speak?
So we definitely can give them the basics of nutrition. We do have a nutritionist on campus that if the student athletes wanted more in depth and more detail oriented with, say, they either needed to gain weight for, a certain reason, or they felt like they needed more protein in their diet, we can advise them.
Yeah.
And let them make appointments with our on-campus nutritionist, but we can definitely give them basic guidelines for sure and teach them. And we do have. I was talking to Kara about Kara Gorgos about this too, like trying to get more information out on our Instagram page a little bit that way, since they're always on their phone, and inputting some more information that way for our student athletes this year, and doing little either quizzes and information tidbits just to get it out. It's more of that repetitiveness that they just need to hear over and over again. I'm sure they hear it at home, from their parents. They're going to hear it from the coaches. They're going to hear it from us. And it's a constant just reminder for them to make sure they're getting proper hydration, which a lot of them are definitely going to lack. Their sleep is the most important thing for them. So that's when your body's repairing itself from the day or the days. Wow. And the fueling, it's very challenging for them with their schedule. That's what I find. I just hear them talk, and it's like, how have you not had anything yet to eat?
Yeah. I mean, and it's like you said, there's so many layers, there's so many pieces to this. When we look at sports performance, and you talked about you work to make it individual, you work to find what each person needs, but then you also look at a team, right? Like you just said, you spoke with Stephanie Allen, the women's lacrosse head coach for Binghamton University. So you're talking with Stephanie, and obviously, you have a regimen for per student athletes. We know people's bodies are different, and we know somebody might be really good at this and may need to do this more. Maybe this person stretches great, but they don't drink enough water. This person drinks enough water, but they don't get enough rest. So when you're trying to individually make sure that you're treating a person as like, this is Kim Smith, right? This is Steve Jacobs, or whatever it may be, like names as an example. Like, this is an individual that I want to know. I want them to know I see them, I hear them, they matter to me, because the one-on-one is really important. But you also have to stay true to the team aspect of it all. So how do you balance individual and letting them know, like, Lori Gleason is going to know who you specifically are, as many student athletes as there are, but then having the team? How do you balance team regimen with individual connection?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I have good relationships with our student athletes. I mean, last year I had probably just slightly over 200 of my own that I dealt with. And I made it a point to, when those kids came in the weight room, that I would touch base with them. Just be like, hey, how was your day? Did you do this today? What did you have before practice? Like, what are your plans for after practice or after lift? Like, touch base with them. I don't know how, but somehow I know, like, what's been going on, if like injury wise with them. So I really make a point to touch base with them one-on-one, even if it's just like, the team comes in, they're in their routine, I'll see, I'll kind of go around the weight room and just touch base with them. But then as a whole, as a team, usually when they're done with the lifts, they'll break it down. We'll kind of recap the lift a little bit, but then that's usually my time where I'm able to give them just little reminders of what they need to be doing, especially when it's in season. That's usually when I tend to just remind them about the recovery pieces, making sure they're going to bed at a reasonable time if they have an early practice, making sure they stay on top of their rehab work with sports medicine, all those little things which are super important and just to be reminded of daily.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a lot. People think they just wake up and they go play soccer. It's like, no, they have class, they have homework, they have personal lives, they have families, they have film study, they have study hall, they have any extra help that they may need, they have lift, they have running, they have their nutrition side of things to make sure that they're eating correctly, practice.
I don't know how they do it, to be honest.
It's insane.
It
So,
blows my mind.
Bearcat Breakroom, Lori Gleason, she's hanging out here with us in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. And of course, in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, your new Binghamton University head sports performance coach, but she's been there for a long time. We talked about you having 7 programs. Now you have 21. What are your thoughts on taking what you had and multiplying it by 3?
Yes. No, it's great. In November, so my coworker, Bill Bacon, he's been with us too. This is his 11th year. So we held things down. It was the beginning of November, and both of us worked with our 21 teams, until we were able to finalize some things, and we're working on getting a new assistant. So we have 3 full-time, but again, just like I talked about the communication piece with our coaches between our staff, that's the biggest change that I want to focus on is just we need to collaborate just as much as we need to collaborate with each other as a staff just as much as we have to do that with our coaches and our athletes. So really making sure that we are focused and know where everybody's at as far as, team lifts, programming. If we need to go over each other's programming, then we're going to do that. Just being on top of everything and knowing that we have to work together, and it's a team effort down there, 100%.
Why did you want to move from an assistant to the head sports performance coach? Why did you want to take this on?
Being at Binghamton for the last 20 years, almost 20 years, when I came into Binghamton, I honestly didn't know that I would be here as long as I have, but my husband and I, obviously we settled down. Have our 2 kids, and I think it was in 2012 I actually interviewed at Cortland because they had a head position opened, and I felt like that was an opportunity for me as a female to be a head. There are not many women strength coaches in the field, and there's not that many head women strength coaches in the field. And after I went through the interview process, and I was there for an in-person, and it wasn't right. It wasn't a right fit for me at the time, and I'm happy at Binghamton. I go to work, but I don't feel like it's work. I said this the other day, I walk in the building and I enjoy what I do. Every day is different. Not a lot of people can say that, to be honest. A lot of people struggle with what they do day to day with their jobs. And I definitely don't feel that way. And when this opportunity came up for me to apply for the position, I knew I would do a very good job with it because I feel like with the teams that I had over the past 10 years and the volume of student athletes that I've had, and I feel like I'm very much in tune with our student athletes.
Yeah.
And I'm a very personable person, and any of them can come to me, and they know that they can. And I know that having that relationship and that somebody that you can go to just for a conversation piece, but also knowing that I'm going to push them, and I'm going to push them to be the best that they can possibly be. It's been a very rewarding experience, like I said earlier, but I knew I could do the job. I was confident that I could do the job.
Yeah.
And I'm very pleased and happy to be in this position right now.
Well, it sounds like you're not just doing it for you. It sounds like you want women to know, like, you can lead. You can be the head strength. You can be the head sports performance. You can be at the NCAA Division I level. Do you feel like you are a torchbearer in a way? Do you feel like, hey, I'm trying to shine a light. I'm trying to be a beacon of hope to tell people, like, don't pigeonhole yourself of, I didn't make my family doesn't come from this much money, or I don't have this background, or I wasn't a D1 athlete, or I'm a woman, or I'm from this background, like whatever it may be that somebody thinks maybe holds them back. Because when there's not a precedent or there's not many, some people kind of just, I tell people all the time, I can't stand the statement, it is what it is. So I actually have a sign in my studio behind me that says it is what it is, but it will become what you make of it. So do you feel like you are trying to be a beacon of hope, an example to women out there to be like, hey, don't settle yourself short. Like, men, women, we can all do this thing, and I want to let you know that you can.
Yes, like it's, it's been really interesting to see, like, over the past week, just some of the messages that I've received from past athletes, like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And hearing them being like, Lori, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe this is, this is awesome news for you. And, just reiterating, just like what I did for them when they were there.
Yeah.
But the biggest message, like, over the years, especially to our women athletes that I've had, a lot of women come in not knowing how to lift and are very intimidated by that area.
Yeah.
And man, are there some strong women.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing them and build that confidence in the weight room and knowing that they can, achieve these weights that they didn't think they were able to achieve. Like, that's what I want to be for them, is somebody who's pushing them to their limits and achieving what they're able to. And it's unreal to see some of these young women lift.
Yeah, I can say about my little sister Franny, when she was, I don't even know, 18, 19 years old, she was deadlifting 315, and she weighed like I don't even know, 40. So, I mean, I told her, I was like, you can literally pick up two of me. And so, like, just insane. I tell her all the time, I'm like, hey, I'm here if you need me, if anybody comes at you sideways, but I know you got it. So before we jump into rapid fire, Lori, why do you love it? Like you said, you've been at Binghamton for almost 2 decades. You're now stepping into the head sports performance coach role. You've had other opportunities before. You've been in the sports performance world for a very long time. You've been in the sports world almost your entire life. Why do you love the world of sports performance?
I just absolutely love watching these student athletes compete. I mean, the women's soccer program, I took them over 5 years ago. And the first time I stepped on the sideline to watch one of their games, I was like, "Oh my gosh, these women are totally different animals." As soon as they step over that line on the field, watching their intensity rise, just laying their bodies out and just being competitive. It's just been awesome just to see the successes that we've had over the years and seeing them compete at this level. And again, like with some of the track athletes, the differences between team and individual sports, it's definitely different to see in the weight room. It's a different environment.
Yeah.
And those individual athletes, your swimmers, your tennis players, your track athletes, like they absolutely have to put the work in the off season. And believe me, like, excuse me, if they don't, they're the first person to know that. And if they don't, work their butts off during their off season, it's going to show. It's gonna 100% show, because in a race or in a match or a meet, like you're there and people are watching you specifically. So that's another message that I relate to those student athletes is like you need to put the work in, because it's gonna show. We will know. And if you don't, then it's we have to take steps backwards, and we don't want to take steps backwards. So getting through to them and seeing that light click and being like, okay, yes, I understand, this is what I need to do. It's just an awesome environment to be in. We were Bill and I were just talking today, because we just had, track came back and teams are slowly coming back, and he's like, man, it's great to have a busy weight room again.
Yeah, and when student athletes want it, you will. So what can you say about the Binghamton University student athlete? We know that on the student side of it, they're challenged. They're at one of the top 10 public Ivy League schools in the entire country. On the athlete side of it, being in sports performance for so many years and now being the head of sports performance at Binghamton University, how would you describe the level of talent, dedication, drive, and just overall essence of a Binghamton University student athlete? What should the nation know about the Bearcats?
Yes. Yes, their dedication to their sports, and again, if they're individual athletes, to their events, like it's just amazing to see. They, when they come back to campus, whether it's soon or in the fall semester, seeing the work that they put in and knowing that it's going to propel them forward to get to those championships, hopefully in the spring or the fall. That's the drive, that's the momentum. And when we get there, it's a pretty awesome sight to see that all come to just fruition, basically. Like, hey, I've put all this work in, and now I'm here at this moment, and let's finish it. So they're definitely a hardworking. Again, I said it before, I don't know how they do it on a daily basis, but it takes everybody to get them to that point.
Total team effort for the Bearcats throughout the entire sports performance, as well as the coaching staffs, the student athletes, the athletic trainers, the nutritionists, and of course the teachers and administration overseeing everything, and the president. So with that being said, Lori, let's play some rapid fire. You get to ask the first question. We'll go back and forth. You can ask any topic, any question, and we have to answer them. What do you got?
Okay. Oh boy. Let's see. I know you've obviously interviewed a lot of individuals over the years. Is there one specific professional athlete that you would love to interview that you have not yet?
Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Breonna Stewart, Caitlin Clark. I would say probably those are the ones that hit me the most. I've been in the same room as Michael a couple times. I love to just pick his brain because he is the greatest ever. And I would like to sit down with Caitlin Clark just because, I mean, I think what she's done for women's basketball is tremendous. And I'm a three-point shooter, so I love that. Breonna Stewart came from my hometown, played basketball with my cousin Sammy at CNS. So I love to sit with her. I actually have over my shoulder, I have her autographed. Sits here in my studio. I have a graded, it's a PSA 8 out of 10 Breonna Stewart autographed card of the #1 overall pick.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So that sits right here with me. And yeah, Mike Tyson, because I don't know if anybody's ever like really told his story. So I would love to do that for sure. My question back to you, Lori. If you could sit at a table with any 3 people who have passed away, what 3 people would you sit with and why?
I don't know why, but I had a feeling something along these lines would be asked of me.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I just had this like feeling a couple of days ago. Honestly, nobody famous. It's my grandparents. So my dad's mom passed away my senior year of high school, and then his father passed away. It was 2003. Definitely my grandma and grandpa Martin for sure. And just because, so like I always remembered they would, when we lived in Massachusetts, they would come and visit us, and my grandma, they would always take us to the store, and my grandma would always get stuff to make banana cream pie. And I don't even know the last time I had banana cream pie, but we always made that when they would come to visit us or we would visit them. And then my grandpa Martin, sometimes I get the smell of his pipe every once in a while, and he would just always sit in his chair and smoke his pipe.
Yeah.
And have his flannel on and his corduroy pants. And yeah, it was just, you just miss that. It's been a long time. And it was, I wish my kids were able to know them and everything too. So, a third person, oh boy. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you kind of answered it. I mean, you said your grandparents. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I was nodding the whole time. I'm sorry that they passed away. I am with you. My grandfathers both passed away in 92 when I was 6. My dad's mom passed away when she was, I think, 87. And so that was in the 21st century here. And then my G-mama, my mom's mom, she was almost 101. And I think about them every day. I've thought about my grandfathers pretty much every day for 30 some odd years. And when I took over my dad's parents' house, there was like this one period of time where for like a week or so, I would open up. So you had to open this door to get to my refrigerator, and the refrigerator was at the top of the landing to go down the stairs to the basement. So you'd go in the kitchen, you'd open up the door, you go to the refrigerator, and then downstairs. So for like 8 days, I opened up the door, and every time I opened the door and I turned my head, I could smell cigarette smoke. And nobody had smoked in there for decades. So I knew none of this. And so I said something, and they're like, yeah, when your grandfather went to the doctor and they gave him the nicotine patch, he used to keep the patch on and go downstairs in the basement and smoke when he had the patch on so that like nobody could smell it. And so now, decade upon decade later, I'm living in the house, and for like 8 days, he was in the basement smoking. Like,
That's crazy.
I know it's why, but that's why when you said the pipe, I thought of that. What's
Yeah,
your
it's crazy. It's weird, like how just really random occasions I tend to get like the smell of it, and I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, but across the PA border, it's called Smoke and Joe's or whatever.
Yeah.
And my husband he went into this pipe phase, which lasted not a long time. And I don't know why he did that, but he found the same brand of tobacco that
wow.
yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that just brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
But
It's grandparents will do that, and
mhm.
I know they're all up in heaven, yours, mine, and so I know that when we smell them or we think of them or we sense them and just something about them, I fully know that they are visiting through that bridge that is a lot closer than people think it is by the grace of God. What's your next question for me?
Okay, I know you're a big Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite Italian dish? A favorite Italian dish and pastry.
Favorite Italian, it's got to be something with like just crazy amounts of seafood. So I would say like angel hair pasta with maybe like vodka sauce, mussels, clams, scallops, shrimp, lobster, and like haddock. Just put it all in there. And my favorite Italian dessert is the rigat pie I make in honor of my Gammy Miller, my dad's mom, and then also the pasta chaat. Nobody knows what a pasta chaat is until they have it, and it looks like a little pie, and it's either filled with like the rigat kind of like vanilla, or it's filled with chocolate, or I just had one that was filled with raspberry. The texture of it is fantastic. The flavor, it's heavy, it's dense, but it's so good. And they're not huge, but they're like heavy, like I said. So you eat one and you feel like you try to make yourself eat it slow, because once it's gone, you want to like go to the store and buy another one. Like it's just, they're just so good. And everybody says cannoli because that's like the gateway drug to the Italian dessert cartel. But the reality of it all is it's the pasta chaat. And if you have rigat pie is the end game. You can't like buy it anywhere. So
my mom and her siblings make that for like Easter.
Yeah. Well,
pies.
God bless to them, because you can't buy it anywhere. Nobody knows what I'm talking about when I say rigat pie.
Yeah. So I'll only eat my mom's rigat pie.
Okay. Fair enough. I love that your mom makes it. Chat. What is your mom's first name?
Deborah.
Oh, that's my mom's name. Shout out to you, Deborah, for making rigat pie. I now know somebody else in 2026 that makes this pie. So God bless you, Deborah. I'd love to try it sometime and compare our recipes.
And ham and cheese pie.
What is it?
Ham and cheese pie for Easter. It's big.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
All my mom's side of the family are Italian, so.
Okay. All right. So, got to talk to Deborah. My last question for you, if you were on death row, and don't worry, because I'm Italian and Hispanic, I'm going to break you out. So I tell you on the phone, the last day of your death row, you say, I got until noon Eastern time. And I say, perfect. I'm going to wake up at 7. I got 5 hours to break you out. You need to create a long meal so that I can do what I need to do to get you out of the jail. I'm breaking you out, but what are you eating?
A long meal.
You gotta have courses here.
Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. Courses.
Yeah. And if anybody's listening from any type of law enforcement, this is a joke. This isn't real. And if and when anybody ever gets broken out of jail that knows me, please don't call me because no comment.
Let's do like French onion soup, I guess. Let's try French onion soup.
Okay, I like it.
Let's do I would do chicken marsala
Okay.
with a side of just spaghetti,
Okay.
meatballs,
Okay.
Italian bread for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna be really hungry, so we'll do a pot roast.
Okay.
Let's add that to the mix.
Okay.
I forgot my salad, so we'll do a Caesar salad.
All right. Dessert.
Ooh. Cheesecake with raspberry sauce on top.
And as you're getting that last bite of raspberry cheesecake, oh look, you're free now. So with that being said, Lori Gleason. What'd you say?
I was worried.
No, I got you. With that being said, Lori Gleason here, new Binghamton University head sports performance coach, but not a new face to the Bearcats, overseeing all 21 of their programs. The Bearcat Breakroom showcasing Lori, congratulating her on the heels of the news of her becoming the head sports performance coach in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Lori, congratulations. I am so happy we got to do this. I'm happy you wanted to do it, and you did a tremendous job for somebody who told me she's just a tiny bit nervous. You did such an amazing job, so thank you for your time, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much for having me.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. We have a delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So We take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare it to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You can visit them for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And of course, you can visit them anytime online by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. That is GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So make sure you head over there today and find your next ride or your first ride. Maybe this is going to be your first vehicle. Congratulations either way, whether it's your first or your 15th. We're happy to have Great Lakes Honda City in our community. And like I said, I don't go anywhere I don't trust. And I've trusted them for over a decade to find me my vehicle. And I love my vehicles. I absolutely love it. I love my 2025 Honda CR-V, black on black on black. And I would tell anybody to go over there. I appreciate Malik and Elijah and Mark and the whole team over at Great Lakes Honda City. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for working hard. Thank you for caring. And thank you for making sure that I have a vehicle that not only I can afford, but that I feel safe in. So I appreciate it very much. Shout out to Great Lakes Honda City and the whole team over there here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It's time to get into the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. Avicolli's is open for you 7 days a week. Get yourself over to Avicolli's for lunch dinner and drinks. As always, drink responsibly. And, of course, you can head there, like I said, all throughout the week. You can also go online to myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com to order online. And for takeout, delivery, and catering, you can call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. So make sure that you do that today. Today's topic for the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. Sometimes I come up with these topics and I have no idea how pertinent they're going to be and how just on point they're going to be in the moment. And this is where I blame God. And when I say blame God, I'm having fun with it, because when I say I'm blaming him, it means I'm giving him credit for something that he was on time with. Who determines your value? And boy, in the last 24 hours have I not been through this topic, and people who determine how much value you hold somewhere. It's amazing that yesterday I was just sitting here thinking, and I go, that's a good topic. Who determines your value? And then I went through two different situations where I was devalued within the last 24 hours. After I chose this topic, the topic was already chosen. So who determines your value? God. That's definitely a true thing. God determines your value. And you also determine your value, right? God sees you as priceless, right? Every one of his kids has their own voice, has their own look. I tell people this all the time. Even identical twins are different. Different personalities, different laughs. One of them might be funny. One of them might be more serious. One of them's eyes might be a little bit different. Even identical twins have their own uniqueness. So if an identical twin can be unique, and you're not an identical twin, how do you not see yourself as unique? God created every single one of us to have our own fingerprint. And that fingerprint is on his heart. And if we're smart enough, we'll see his fingerprint on ours. And we'll welcome it. Who determines your value? You do. He already did. God already said, you are my kid. I know every star in the sky, every grain of sand. I know you. So now the question becomes, do you value yourself? Or do you let your value be determined by the people that give you jobs, give you money, give you opportunities, date you? How do you determine your value? Because we will all be devalued at some point in our lives. Jesus Christ was treated like a lunatic, crazy, and thrown out. So if they can throw out Jesus, if they can tell Jesus, yeah, you ain't all that great. Yeah, you ain't the Son of God. You ain't that important. Then why are you surprised when they devalue you? You know, I learned from my parents that your value is your value. And you shouldn't put yourself down. You shouldn't put yourself in a position where you have undervalued who you are, diminished who you are. Your value is your value. And we live in a world where people will treat you the way that they want to. But see, you can't control how somebody talks to you and what they do. But you can control your response. You can find a way to respectfully stick up for yourself. To tell someone, you have drastically undervalued, misunderstood who I am and what I bring. Doesn't every movie, I shouldn't say every movie, but don't so many movies start out? I just watched one, Morning Glory, about somebody who is producing a show, working on a show, and she thinks she's getting a promotion and she gets fired. Then she calls all these places and nobody wants her. Then one place acts like he doesn't want her. Then he decides to hire her to a show that he knows doesn't perform well, that he knows hasn't had a lot of value to people. And then he tells her, we're canceling the show because you're not doing good with a show that wasn't doing good before you got here. Now it's your fault that you didn't bring it up. Now you made it worse. So now you got to do all these things to make it better. And then after all of that, and she accomplishes all these things, and she jumps through every hoop and gets over every hurdle, the job that she would have loved to take in the beginning, that maybe she thought she was worth, they call her. And she has to decide, do I stay in a place where I built something that nobody told me I could save or build or grow, and go to this place that's already built and sustained? Or do I keep building this thing that was impossible? That entire movie that Rachel McAdams is the lead, it's called Morning Glory. She had to value herself differently than how the rest of the world valued her. She had to see something in herself that they did not see. She had to bank and believe and bet on herself when she was treated as a person of little to no value. She had to believe against all odds. I didn't know I was going to watch that movie. I had tried to watch that movie before. I never finished it. I barely started it. But for some reason, I watched it. And then for some reason, I chose the topic for the ingredients to success to be who determines your value. And then I got devalued. So how can I not believe that God had me watch that movie, had it happen at this time, had me create this topic, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't put two and two together that I was even putting that topic with Morning Glory that I had watched. I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, oh, in this moment right now, I'm going, oh, wow, those two things connect. And it looks like I connected them, but I didn't mean to. See, we don't know where life is going to take us. We don't know when God is spreading the message. We're not always privy to what He's working on. But then it hits you. Then you see. And when you open up that eye and you allow yourself to experience, you realize that He's been orchestrating everything. Even the tough stuff, even the hard stuff, even the stuff that you consider to be bad. God is always standing there, ready to command His orchestra. And sometimes that orchestra plays a song that you like, and sometimes it doesn't. But the reality of it all is, He's playing, and He's never missed a note. So remember, your value to God is priceless. Mirror Him and not this world. I'm not telling you to have an ego, but just understand that talking until you're blue in the face, having all the facts, having everything that's been asked for, and more at times, does not mean you're going to get the job, get the girl, get the guy, get the opportunity, get the money. Sometimes you do everything right, and it doesn't turn out the way you want it. And as a smart person once told me, when you do everything you possibly can, you answer all their questions, and you more than defend yourself, you more than are prepared, and you have everything that you need to state your case, and it still doesn't work out, that is God's redirection. When he doesn't let something happen that has no logical reason why it's not happening, it's because you have to trust him that no matter how bad you want to be somewhere with someone doing something, he needs you elsewhere. And in those moments, you must take his hand and trust that he knows better than you. These are your ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. Remember, your value is priceless. With that being said, we'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around here on the broadcast, we will wrap things up from the Great Lakes Honda City studios. We appreciate you being with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate your patience this morning, and I can't wait for what's to come.
New York, great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Restaurant located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to caninecampground.com as well. That's K9 ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Club in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Go and be a big kid today. No matter what your age, GG Cards and Breaks gives you that feel of just being a big kid, having fun, and enjoying being close to your favorite team, your favorite player, your favorite trading card game, characters. There's so many great things at GG Cards and Breaks, and they're waiting for you today. But they may not be there that long, because I know just as well as anybody that something might be there at 10 o'clock this morning and fly off the shelf and be gone by 10:23. So get yourself over to GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. They are the giant behemoth of a Chick-fil-A. You cannot miss them driving down the road. Whether you're on Bridge Street or Erie Boulevard, you will see a giant brick building with a double drive-through, and they are waiting for you. Megan Sorber and her team are doing a tremendous job here in our community to build up the Chick-fil-A brand and to be in a place where the hustle and bustle sometimes means that you got to get some food, you got to get it quick, and you can head right over to Chick-fil-A and DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard for what I consider to be, something that, listen, there's fast food and then there's Chick-fil-A. And I love going there, grabbing myself a chicken sandwich. I just went to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and they brought Chick-fil-A sandwiches to the press box, and I was so excited. Go over there and get yourself Chick-fil-A today. Whether you're an original fan, spicy, grilled, if you want to go there and get their mac and cheese or one of those amazing shakes. It's all on site, on location at Chick-fil-A DeWitt. We look forward to seeing you on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. I want to thank you all for being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Make sure you head over there today, and every Monday through Saturday they are open for sales and service. For a sneak peek of their inventory, go to greatlakeshondacity.com. We've been up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe with you today on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in to us. And of course, once the shows go live, they hop into the archives, and you can find so many things, so many episodes on Podbean alone. There's over 2,000 episodes that you can download and listen to on Podbean. And of course, we are on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe and follow today. Big time thanks to our incredible upstate and Central New York partners, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, with 2 locations, 33 Rippleton Road in Kaz on the countryside, and on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Mother's Cupboard, the home of my Cuse Mac Mother, the exclusive home of my breakfast sandwich in Central New York, is at Mother's Cupboard. Get the bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast today and every day on 3709 James Street in Syracuse. And, of course, they are open 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily. Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Pizza Man, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicolli's, Brian's Landing, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats have called Wake Up Call home for about 4 years now, and we've provided coverage that you wouldn't have anywhere else anyway like this. We've helped to bring the Bobcat message to you in Central and Upstate New York, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world. We've told the stories of these coaches, student athletes, and administration, and it's been an honor inside of the Bobcat Buzz. You can find it all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats like today every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Telling the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni, we've connected with the Southern Tier in Binghamton University, and it has been a true honor. As we step out of year 2 and heading toward year 3, I can't believe how much time has flown by as we've gotten to tell the incredible stories of wonderful people that have really warmed my heart, taught me lessons, helped me to grow, and expanded my knowledge, my wisdom, and my horizon. Binghamton University can be found on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. For a short time, we've had the opportunity to tell the stories of those that should have been told for years. Inside of the Laser Lounge, OCC student athletes, coaches, and administration. I did this as a tribute to my mom, to Rob Edson, to my valuing of OCC, and my care for the Lasers. And it's been an honor to be able to tell the stories of these wonderful people in the OCC community and to be able to give them something that I felt like they should have had the whole time. You can find them every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Of course, the Lasers are on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the OCC playlist. The Lasers are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondagalazers.com and go Lasers. And thank you, Rob Edson, for being a true leader. With that being said here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank Steve Addazio. I want to thank Lori Gleason. I want to thank Avicolli for the ingredients to success every Tuesday. Remember that God has determined your value already and that you must know that and value yourself in the same light. There are billions and billions and trillions and zillions of stars and grains of sand, but God knows every single one of them individually. So when you go out there in this world today, remember, you may be a speck to somebody, but you're known to your God. I appreciate everyone who believes in me, and I appreciate everyone who doesn't. Because the ones who don't and the ones who have devalued me, you have reminded me of the fire and the vigor and the drive I have. I appreciate everyone who's in my corner, but I also appreciate everybody who's not, because it's made me stronger and it always compels me to fight, and I love it. Throw me in the fire, and I'm like the Hulk. I only get bigger. God has been great. Opportunities have been wonderful. Those that work out I am greatly thankful for. And those that don't, I am greatly thankful for. Because if I've learned anything in life, if you do things with a pure heart and good intentions, you cannot fail your God. So if you fail people with pure heart and good intentions, those aren't your people. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I love telling stories. I love what I've gotten to do with so many schools and teams and individuals. And I've only just begun. So, to those of you that value me in heaven and on earth, thank you for reminding me of who I am. For those of you that don't, thank you for reminding me of who I am. Have a beautiful day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, we keep going and we say, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.